If you've ever gone shopping in the Philippines, chances are you've spent money in a place the Tsai family owns, maybe without even realizing it. Malls? They've got them. Banks? Yep. Condos? Of course. So what's their money-making secret? Before we get into that, buckle up, because you're about to meet some of the richest Philippine families who quietly shaped this nation. 1. The Tsai family, from shoes to shopping empires. Let's kick it off with the Tsai family, which is reportedly the richest family in the Philippines, with a story just as spellbinding as their wealth. Henry Tsai didn't have $1 billion inheritance at his disposal. He started with shoes, quite literally, a small shoe store called Shoe Mart in downtown Manila in the 1950s. It was modest, but Henry saw something others failed to envision. The Philippines' growing middle class wanted places to shop, and he was going to give them malls, big, air-conditioned ones. Malls that weren't just shopping centers, but entire social ecosystems. Fast forward a few decades, and Shoe Mart had evolved into SM Investments Corporation, the largest conglomerate in the country, with interests in retail, banking, and real estate. Those massive SM Supermalls. They're everywhere, and they're just one part of the portfolio. Add in BDO Unibank, the country's largest bank, and a sprawling real estate arm, and you've got a business footprint that touches millions of lives daily. Today, Henry's 6 children, Teresita, Henry Jr., Hans, Herbert, Harley, and Cindy, run the empire. Their combined net worth hovers over $14 billion, and in true billionaire fashion, they've managed to keep family drama out of the tabloids while steering the business like a well-oiled machine. And if you think starting with shoes and ending up owning the country's biggest bank is impressive, wait until you hear about the next family, who went from selling goods on a bicycle to running an empire so big it includes an airline. 2. The Gokongwei Family, from bicycle sales to billion-dollar conglomerate. John Gokongwei Jr.'s childhood reads like a plot twist no one saw coming. Born into a wealthy family in Cebu, he lost his father at just 13, and with that, most of the family fortune as well. While other teenagers were still figuring out algebra, John started selling goods on his bicycle to help his family survive. That grind set the tone for everything that came next. He began importing goods and eventually built JG Summit Holdings, a conglomerate with a presence in food manufacturing, more specifically Universal Robina, as well as the banking sector, real estate, petrochemicals, and, perhaps most famously, Cebu Pacific Air. By the time he passed in 2019, John had turned his early hardship into one of the most inspiring rags-to-riches stories in Asia. His son, Lance Gokongwei, now runs the show, keeping the empire relevant in industries that shift faster than Manila traffic lights. But here's the real kicker, and trust us, nothing we have shared so far beats this. Cebu Pacific wasn't just a business play, but a calculated bet to democratize air travel, making it affordable for millions who had never flown before. That single decision not only made his wealth grow exponentially, but also changed the country's travel culture forever. But our next family didn't have to start from scratch. They've been in business since the 1800s and have turned old money into a modern corporate powerhouse. 3. The Aboitiz Family, old money with a new game plan. If the Tsai and Gokongwei families are stories of grit and hustle, the Aboitiz clan is about longevity. This Spanish-Filipino family started in the late 1800s, trading hemp in the Visayas. By the time the 20th century rolled in, they were knee-deep in shipping and later expanded into power generation, banking, food, and infrastructure. Their flagship, Aboitiz Equity Ventures, is a mainstay of the Philippine Stock Exchange. Through it, they control Aboitiz Power, one of the country's largest power producers with significant investments in renewable energy. They also own UnionBank, which has positioned itself as one of the most tech-forward banks in the country. What's striking about the Aboitiz family is their ability to keep a traditional family business relevant in the face of rapid modernization. They've embraced digital banking, green energy, and even startup investments, proving that a family business doesn't have to stay stuck in its ways. Speaking of business dynasties, you have to meet the next family, one so old and influential, they've been shaping Manila's skyline since before your great-grandparents were born. 4. The Zobel de Ayala family, the architects of modern Manila. The Ayala story begins in 1834, when Domingo Roxas and Antonio de Ayala founded a trading company that would eventually evolve into the Ayala Corporation, now one of the Philippines' most diversified conglomerates. If you've walked through Makati's financial district, you've basically been strolling through their backyard. Their empire spans banking, including the Bank of the Philippine Islands, as well as real estate, telecommunications, water distribution, infrastructure, and even renewable energy. The family is known for developing entire urban districts from scratch, turning farmland into bustling commercial hubs. The Zobel de Ayala leadership, currently headed by brothers Jaime Augusto and Fernando, has mastered the art of combining profitability with social responsibility, often leading sustainability initiatives and urban planning projects that other companies struggle to imitate. And here's a fun bit. Despite being one of the most powerful families in Southeast Asia, they've cultivated a reputation for understated elegance. You won't find flashy scandals here, just billion-dollar projects quietly reshaping the country. Of course, not every tycoon story starts in a boardroom. The next one? He started selling seafood and somehow ended up becoming a billionaire. 5. The Tan family, from seafood stalls to global fortune. Lucio Tan's origin story starts humbly and smells faintly of the sea. Born in China and raised in the Philippines, he worked his way through school selling seafood and later mopping floors at a tobacco factory. That experience planted the seed for his first major business, Fortune Tobacco, which would grow into one of the country's leading cigarette manufacturers. But Tan didn't stop at tobacco. Over the decades, he built LT Group Inc., a conglomerate spanning alcohol, banking, real estate, and even aviation through Philippine Airlines. Owning the country's flag carrier wasn't just a prestige move. It cemented his position as a serious power player in both business and politics. The Tan family fortune is now in the billions, but they've kept operations tightly within family circles. His children, including Michael Tan, who leads Tanduay, and daughter Vivienne, who has held executive roles in the airline, are gradually taking on more control. Now, if you think moving from seafood to running an airline is a jump, wait until you hear about the next family, whose empire grew from a literal roadside stand into one of the biggest fast food brands on the planet. 6. The Caktiong family, fast food royalty. Tony Tan Caktiong's story could be a motivational poster. As the son of Chinese immigrants, he opened a small ice cream parlor in Quezon City in 1975. Ice cream sales were fine, but customers kept asking for hot meals. Tony listened, expanded the menu, and accidentally birthed Jollibee. What started as a modest fast food joint became the Philippines' answer to McDonald's, and eventually its global competitor. The company now operates thousands of stores worldwide, owning brands like Chowking, Red Ribbon, and even global acquisitions like Smashburger and the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Jollibee's signature sweetness in savory style is not only a brilliant marketing quirk, but also a cultural phenomenon that resonates with Filipinos at home and abroad. The Tan Caktiong family's approach, mixing relentless expansion with an almost obsessive focus on local taste, is exactly what turned them into billionaires. And the craziest part? McDonald's once tried to squeeze Jollibee out of the local market and lost badly. Well, that makes us shift to our next family, who, unlike Tan, doesn't rely on burgers and fries, but has built their fortune on something far more liquid, and it's kept them in the top tier of Philippine wealth for decades. 7. The Gokongwei Family, political power and liquid gold. You can't talk about Philippine elite circles without mentioning the Gokongweis. This family's influence stretches beyond business into politics, with ties to past presidents and decades of political maneuvering. But their fortune, that's rooted in sugar, and later banking and telecoms. The Gokongweis first rose to prominence in the 1930s, acquiring vast sugar plantations in Tarlac, most notably the controversial Hacienda Luisita. In the following decades, they expanded into finance through ownership stakes in the Bank of Commerce and other ventures. Notably, Eduardo Danding Gokongwei Jr., often referred to as the boss, became one of the most powerful businessmen in the country, controlling San Miguel Corporation, the Philippines' largest food, beverage, and packaging company. Under his leadership, San Miguel expanded beyond beer and food into energy, infrastructure, and telecoms, making it one of the region's biggest conglomerates. And while political families often see their fortunes rise and fall with the tides, our final family has managed something remarkable. Building a billion-dollar empire while flying so far under the radar, you might not even know their name. 8. The Razon family, the billionaires you rarely see. If you've ever shipped goods through the Philippines, chances are you've used a Razon-controlled port without realizing it. Enrique Razon Jr., current head of the family, runs International Container Terminal Services Inc., one of the world's largest port operators, with terminals in Asia, the Americas, and beyond. The Razons started in the 1930s operating a port in Manila, but under Enrique Jr.'s leadership, they went global, aggressively acquiring and managing terminals in strategic locations worldwide. This isn't just about logistics, it's about controlling the flow of trade itself, a power that translates directly into billions. Enrique Razon is known for his low-profile but decisive business style. Outside of ports, he's invested heavily in the gaming and hospitality sector through Bloomberry Resorts, which operates the luxury Soler Resort and Casino in Manila's entertainment city. Despite his wealth, Razon is not at all about the spotlight unless it's about philanthropy or infrastructure development. That quiet efficiency has made him one of the most respected figures in Philippine business, and there you have it. From mall moguls to port tycoons, these 8 Philippine billionaires have shaped how the country works, plays, and even eats. If you enjoyed this exclusive tour through Philippines' richest families, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.